Oh, there we go. Cool, cool. So we are officially live. Make sure that we're live inside the right group. I don't even have my phone on me. We are live inside of somebody's Facebook group, whether it's ours or somebody else's. Cool. So we're live inside the right group. Welcome, guys, to another training here. In this training, let me exit out of this tab here. In this training, I'm really, really excited for you guys. What I want to do today is I'm joined here by Alli and with Vince here. And what I want to do is Vince is actually, let's see, this is actually month 4, I believe, of us working together. And in the first 3 months, we basically tripled the business, really turned some things up, put some fuel in the fire. I've been booking, what is it, like some weeks you've been booking like a call a day, really like getting after it, landing roughly like a client a week, just like a real good, steady upward trend, making a lot of really good progress. And so, anyways, I'll let you kind of introduce yourself, but I wanted to basically bring him on for you guys inside the group here and just share with you what it is he's been doing and how he's been finding success, and some stuff that's been clicking. So, first of all, you got a really cool company, dude. I would love to hear, I'd love to see you share with some people, maybe kind of like what does he do and the whole mission with Dadletics.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so with the Dadletics is the name of the company, which Tell and Alli helped move that ball forward for me because that company was thought of but not formal until actually working with you guys. So thanks for giving me the confidence to push that ball forward. So Dadletics work with dads, 12 weeks, help them lose 10 to 30 pounds with effortless and delicious meal plan, short, effective workouts, all while being able to enjoy favorite foods and drinks. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of the program. But yeah, really just the bigger mission of helping busy dads. Busy dads got plenty of excuses, but to me, they also have plenty of responsibilities. And it's about manning up to those responsibilities. And I'll take all the excuses off your plate with the program being customized to that individual so that there are no excuses. So kind of the nuts and bolts.
I love it, dude. I saw your post today, or was it today or yesterday, about the everybody finding time to watch football, but not having time to meal prep and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, dude, really been like that. That's actually something I would love to dig into a little bit because I know that when we first started working together, maybe kind of dive into like, so what had you been doing since kind of like the previous 6 months or so? Because yeah, like we did really put together like a new kind of offer and brand and really like niche down and got clear on Dadletics and bringing that to life. So like what were you doing? Like what were maybe some of the main mistakes and how you feel like that shifted?
Yeah, so just to give some context, I owned a brick and mortar gym for 10 years. Obviously, this thing, COVID, happened in 2020. In our 10th year of business, naturally transitioned online, hired a coach, went through the program to learn how to properly transition ourselves from in-person to online, because there are some similarities, but there's definitely some major differences as well. So had a lot of success transitioning online, of course, with a lot of people just working at home, a lot of members at the gym, had a great name for ourselves. So had some massive success at first. I ended up taking a job with the coaching company, which seemed like the right choice at the right time. Looking back, Monday quarterback, I wish I wouldn't have, but it is what it is. No such things as going back in time. So with that being said, I reopened up my online coaching business and was kind of just doing the old things that I had been doing previously that originally got me a ton of success, but now in 2023 just weren't quite clicking the first half of the year. So I relaunched my business in January, gave myself 6 months to just kind of get things up and going again, all on my own. And I told myself at the 6 month mark, if I don't have it where I want, I'm going to go find a coach, and hired you guys in July. And it's been progress to the moon ever since.
Yeah, dude, I like it. Allie sent me to the moon. She sent me the screenshot the other day of the chat where you had dropped in your like your Stripe from the last like several months, and it's literally just like a straight line up.
It kind of looks fake.
Yeah. So literally headed to the moon, which is really, really good to see. And the other part too is that it's like it's not been like anything insane. It's not been like, hey, let's come in and let's do some big flashy promo thing, discount, challenge, whatever. Like we came in and we've just done business as it should be done. Every single day we're generating leads, we're booking calls, like the business is sustainably moving along versus like being off the back of like big launches or whatever. And I think that's been really cool to see. Yeah, dude. So like before, walk through, because dude, there's so many coaches I know that are listening in. They struggle with like the whole niche part. There's a lot to wrap your head around. Like, did you have any like limiting, maybe like limiting thoughts or beliefs around like niching down, or was there anything that like what was your mindset coming into niching down, and like why maybe you hadn't before? I don't know if that's like a good question.
Yeah, no, yeah, it makes sense to me. So yeah, to go back kind of to some context, owning the gym for 10 years, we were a CrossFit gym. So we had 80-year-olds and teenagers and overweight and underweight, and we literally had all of the different types of people you could possibly imagine. And, quote unquote, had tons of success. It obviously depends how you kind of define success, but we did have all those different types of members. So naturally transitioning online, it seemed reasonable to want to work with anyone and everyone, because then there's just more people that you can go after. So that was a big lesson when I first transitioned online. This new transition, when I reopened back up in January, part of my struggle was I would have a lot of females that would reach out to me, or a lot of just regular guys who weren't quite dads yet reach out to me. And it was hard for me it was hard for me at first to turn that business down. But
Yep.
ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, that would dramatically change my business if I just kept letting that slow me down. It's this transitioning into specifically dads only that, one, I've had this recent, I've had my biggest month yet last month, and just see things in the future going so much smoother and easier, because now I can actually have a system, actually have a voice. Just makes things a whole lot easier.
Dude, by the way, I love what you just said there. By the way, anybody listening in, we have a content and clients playbook that is all about niching down, creating content. I want to get that over to you guys because it speaks to a lot of what you just said. And literally in that, I had in there, I was like, niche down so many times, like it works in the exact opposite way that people think. They're like, oh, if I niche down, like I'm going to lose out on money, I'm going to lose out on clients. And sometimes it can be hard because you look at your current client base and you're like, yeah, but like that client, Susie wouldn't have worked with me if I was just going for dads. But then it's like, when it comes to the actual marketing and content creation, it's really hard to know what to post because it's like, well, this post maybe speaks to men, but it doesn't really speak to women. And then you're trying to like please a little bit of anybody and everybody. Um, and one thing Alli says all the time is like, like if you try to speak to everybody, you speak to nobody. And so yeah, so basically that was kind of the thought process of like, hey, like I don't really want to turn this money down. Um, and then I guess like it's kind of funny you say that because like I didn't feel a lot of resistance to you when we started working together on the offer to actually niching down. So was that just kind of a like evolution that like when you signed up, you're like, hey, it's time to do this, or were you just like, oh, he's telling me to do it, like I'll just do it? Because yeah, I
Yeah, I
didn't
mean,
I didn't feel a lot of resistance there.
no, yeah, I think it was just I think it was a perfect storm, just a really good timing side of things. And back to the playbook side of things that you're offering, that was my first piece of content with you guys prior to even hiring. And guys, this playbook is awesome. So please, for the love of God, ask for it, take it, because that's the thing that I first got and was like, all right, sweet. These guys definitely, because I was honestly in the hunt. I had 3 coaching companies total that I was having conversations with before I decided to actually work with you guys. And we can go into those details at whatever point, but the playbook's awesome.
Cool. That's good to hear. I had no idea, to be honest. Yeah, I remember when we first connected, we hit it off really good. So that's interesting.
So I know that you kind of touched on you started in January. You
Maybe
gave
get up
yourself 6 months. I guess like what was the biggest breakthrough from that time period to now? Like obviously like we can say like strategies and all that, but like I'm sure you were doing different lead gen systems, things like that. So like a lot of times it's more of I don't know, like the breakthrough is always like unique to each person. So I'm interested to hear what that was for you.
Yeah, I think what it was, one, once again, you can always look back. I do wish, obviously, I would have signed up sooner. But as far as the breakthrough goes, I think the reason why I had so much success signing up, when I had a gym, I had a business partner. So I always had someone I could bounce ideas off of. And I'm an idea guy. I got all kinds of ideas. So I
Same.
had some, I could bounce these off my business partner, and he did such a great job helping me better understand good ideas and not so good ideas, because we would obviously, talk them out. And then when I transitioned online, I had a coach. So once again, I had someone that I could bounce ideas off of. Come January to June, the first 6 months, I had no one I could bounce ideas off of,
Mm.
other than my wife, which we know how those conversations go. At some point, you got to find someone else. So, so really the big breakthrough was finally being able to have someone I could bounce my ideas off of, to be like, yeah, let's run full speed in this direction, or hey, let's hold back on here, or just thinking about things differently, or things that I wasn't quite seeing. So it was really the one-on-one conversations that was the breakthrough.
Mm. Dude, yeah. There's so much that's really interesting. Because I think a lot of times, like I think there's a lot of people. I'm exactly like that way. It's like when you're more entrepreneurial, it's like you have a lot of times like you don't struggle with procrastination. You actually struggle with like doing too much and always feeling like you have to go, go, go. And it's actually like, it's a process of elimination and making things more simple. So is there because actually what's been interesting is like you and I had shared some conversations back and forth of you've actually grown in like volume wise as far as like the amount of calls you're booking, as far as like the amount of DMs and stuff you're sending, which is still literally like I don't even think it was at like 20 DMs a day. It was like 17 and a half or something a day is what the average was. But that was like literally double what you were doing before. So I'm interested to know, like, there's been some areas that have doubled that have caused you to see 3x the returns. I'm going to assume on the other side, there's things you've possibly cut out, or is that not necessarily true?
Um, I mean, as far as cutting, as far as cutting out, getting more laser focused on this datalytic side of things has naturally helped me cut out some things. As far as the volume goes, yeah, definitely the messages side of things have increased, but not astronomically. That's like unreasonable to get done in a day. And
Mm-hmm.
what's given me more of the motivation to send more messages is through the script, and the way you guys set up the script was super smooth and just gave me more of the motivation to send out messages, because I knew exactly how the conversation was going to go.
Yeah, and that's a huge part. It's like a lot of times I think we all have scripts, and like a lot of scripts out there like super copy and paste, and it's not like conversational. So that's no, I totally get that. Dude, I guess like so let's say for instance somebody is out there, let's say there's other fitness coaches right now watching in on this, and they're in a similar position to where you were, a similar situation. Like I'm curious to hear like who do you think they need to become, or like what do you feel like would help them make this similar transition to what you've had?
Um, that's a great question from so many different ways. Yeah, I think ultimately, I definitely think getting some structure in your life. So obviously, hiring a coach is a great way to get some structure in your life. Having some structure, and my really the thing that helps motivate me on a day-to-day basis to quote unquote do the boring work is I know what I need to do in order to reach the goals that I want to reach. So getting some structure from the coach. Also, then the things that I'm doing, I'm getting feedback on. So what I'm doing is like, if it's not working, I can go get feedback on, so I'm not just beating my head up against the wall. So as far as like the person, the person they need to become, I mean, obviously I'm a really big fan of identity and who you are and how that plays such a big role in your success in life. As far as who they need to become, that's a great question. They need to become the person that's willing to do the boring work, because at the end of the day, business is just doing a lot of the boring work. There's
Dude, that's so true.
a lot of great things in a business, and it's fun coming up with the logo and the designs and the new plans and the new programs, but at the end of the day, it's the boring stuff on a day-to-day basis that moves the needle. And I would also recommend most coaches, and I struggled with this originally, most coaches just give themselves a job. I think you really need to think from a business perspective and systematizing and documenting these things, thinking about hiring just a bigger plan than just making a couple of bucks, not having to work for someone. I think that will also help keep you motivated and pushing forward as well.
Dude, absolutely. That's the difference between, like side hustle mode and just kind of being in that mode where it's like you're dipping your toes in the water and you're kind of halfway doing things. And really stepping up and being a business owner and feeling like, hey, when you wake up in the day, like you actually have this business that's running that you're commanding, versus just kind of like, when you're in that other mode of just like, oh, like I want to get some money and some clients. And then like I saw this dude, he posted a Lambo. So you're saying that's going to be me? Like if I put this post up, it's like, that's not reality, right? It's like, you have to really, you do have to think like a business owner. I think that's why so many people are, I can at least say for myself, because like I've been in this stuff for the last 8 years, like the online stuff, and I've invested like $80,000 into coaching at least, at minimum. And I've fallen for like, back in the day, like fallen for a lot of the like, you just see stuff like, oh, they're making all this money and you sign up, and then you're like, oh wait, like there's actually work you got to do, and there's like a whole bunch of stuff. Dude, yeah. And it's funny too, because like as fitness coaches, sometimes like we know you have to do the hard work, you have to do the boring work, you show up, you push the weight to eat the food, but then for business it's so much harder.
But it's the exact same thing.
It is the same
It's not
thing.
harder. It's the same thing.
Yeah, the
So
parallel between fitness and business is unreal. And I love it because it's always like, well, what would you say to your client? Like, you know what I mean? I love that.
yes, I mean, something simple of like tracking your numbers. You want your clients the more they track their macros, whether you believe in like they should do it all the time or some of the time, regardless, you need some information. The more information you can get, so the more information you can keep on yourself, just makes things so much easier. And as far as like the hard work, I don't, to me, what the hard work is not knowing where you're going. And to me, I don't think a coach takes away the hard work, but the coach gives you, to me, the purpose on like what you're doing and why you need to do it another day and another day and another day, is because you're doing the right things, or at least heading in the right direction. To me, the hard work is not knowing where the hell you're going or what you're doing.
Yeah. Lack of clarity.
Totally.
Dude, yeah, and I think that leads into a lot of times then, as well, like being ideas people, then we just start throwing shit against the wall and we're just like, oh, well, it could be this, or it could be this, or it could be this. And then all of a sudden it's like, we're 4 months down the road and we've tried a million different things. We never tried anything long enough to see if it would actually work. You're starting, you're tearing down, you're stopping, it's like, it's just this big cycle. Yeah, dude, that can be super hard. I've done that so many times. Yeah, this has been really good. I guess what other questions would you have for him?
Yeah, we kind of just thought we would just hop on here and
We didn't
chat.
really.
I feel like we cut up really, really well, like any other time. So we thought it would be cool just to like give people an insight to that. Maybe a question would be, so like we're talking about like what you're wanting to build towards, and like that being the hardest part of like not necessarily always knowing like where you want to go. What is your vision for the future? Like what's your ultimate goal for what you're working towards?
That's a good question.
Yeah, and then I'd also like to share, just as a side note of the process of hiring you guys and going through the other coaches is what I'd like to share about that. But yeah, I mean,
Cool.
as far as what I'm building towards, yeah, I mean, at least as of now, I'd like to get to 20 to 30K consistent months. I'd like to have admin. I'd like to have at least one other coach at the minimum. I think that's what I'm building towards right now, but I can see it still much bigger than that. I originally could not. When I went online, it was truly just to give myself a job. And I'm warning you, I'm telling you, it's not the reason you should do this. You should want to create a business, which I know if you're just starting off, like it seems a little bit intimidating, but especially as you get older, I'm 41 years old. Like I want to build a business.
Yeah.
So I say that. So I'm working towards right now 20 to 30K months, get my wife retired so that she doesn't have to work, or she can do whatever she, quote unquote, wants with her time as far as making money. So she's a very driven person, very smart when it comes to the nutrition and helping women. So I can't imagine her ever stop working, but I'd love to give her the ability to be able to do that. But I also want to have a team. I also want to have people that I can bounce ideas off that are intimate to me as well, and that I can also help grow them as well. So I think that's a bigger picture. I want to impact as many dads as possible. I do truly believe that this is like such a big issue. From the dad side of things, just taking responsibility. Unfortunately, I have way more success with dads who are between that 10 to 30 pound range than dads that are like 50 to 100 pound range. And to me, that is devastatingly scary. So I am really on a much bigger mission and want to try and help as many of those dads as possible.
Dude, I'm curious, like, so you said when you first got started, it didn't seem like it was like a reality and a possibility. Was there ever a moment that you like that it finally clicked, or has that just kind of been something that was over time? Was it like, was there a moment that something happened?
I think it's just kind of come with time,
Yeah.
time and age. And as I continue to look into the future, definitely when you're younger in your 20s, you definitely think about things differently than in your 30s, than in your 40s, than in your 50s. So um, call it time. I think with the gym, unfortunately, we had a ton of success being in business for 10 years, but looking back, I would have had us do things dramatically different. We could have done things dramatically different. So I keep reflecting back to the past of, I don't wish upon going back. Moral of the story is just looking back on the past to learn lessons for the future.
Yeah.
Is why I keep bringing up some past things. So yeah, I think some past things I would have done differently. And I finally see the crystal ball on like making this into a business versus a job is just so important for so many reasons.
Yeah. I think there's a different level of like ownership there. Like a business owner does like what it takes versus the person that's just kind of like, it's just like, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, side hustle, or even so many people I see, like they do start and launch something, but then they're, constantly stuck at 2,000, 3,000 or whatever. Because it's just, they're in that place of have yet to really step into it and be like, you know what, like, let's fucking do this. And like, let's throw some fuel on the fire. And yeah, you step into that, you own it. And it's just like, boom, like things just start clicking.
Yeah, totally. And it's funny that you say it kind of like that as well. Is in someone trying to do a side hustle, I could see where maybe they wouldn't want coaching. Someone who's a business, it's like trying to run a brick and mortar gym without a brick and mortar. Like, what are you doing? So yeah, definitely if you have a different mindset, even though when I first went online, the goal wasn't necessarily to have a business, it was to have a job. I still did see the benefit of hiring a coach, hence we hired a coach. I do kind of find it funny and slightly hypocritical of nutrition coaches to not hire a coach thinking, well, I want these people to hire me, but then you're not willing to get help seems a lot backwards.
Yeah, no, I actually totally agree. That's why I've always had, even still to this day, like we still work with coaches. It's a thing of like, how am I going to ethically go talk to someone and be like, no, dude, you should totally do this if it's like something I'm not willing to do myself. It's just like, I don't know, it's just like an out of alignment, from start to finish. Yeah, dude. No,
And it
I
was one of
really
the
like that.
questions that I asked you on our original call was, are you guys working with a coach? Because I
Yep.
value it so much that I think the general population should be asking, hey, how are you growing? How are you getting help? And if you're not getting help, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, it's so funny because I remember getting off that call and just being like, oh, well, maybe he's just gonna go join the program we're in or something.
Yeah.
I'm just like
Said that one.
and then you hit me up like, hey dude, let's do it. I was like, all right, cool, let's go. Uh but
That's hilarious.
anyways,
Well, I think
on the
that that's
line
a
for the
great
coaching.
segue on picking you guys. You know, I was chatting with a couple of, to me, at least from my perspective, and maybe it's just my timeline, of two of the bigger leaders in the industry when it comes to nutrition coaching and helping coaches get online. And I think they have a ton of value, and they give away some great things. But at the end of the day, getting that one-on-one time, because the last program I was in was only group calls. And the group calls were awesome, but as the company gets bigger and bigger, the group calls would go one of two ways. Either the person who was in the program the longest knew that they better ask questions, so they would always make sure they asked the questions, which typically hogged a bunch of the call. Or there would be
Mm.
so many people on the call that maybe you would get your turn to ask a question, but it was just so quickly answered that there wasn't any depth into it because there was just so many people on the call. So the last program I was in, no one-on-one calls, all group model. And as I was learning about these other programs, they're run very similar. And what truly like stood out with you guys is not only a one-on-one call, but two one-on-one calls every single month. And it was just like hands down, no brainer, getting that one-on-one time. Like, I think your guys' group calls are awesome. It's kind of always this overarching theme that you're teaching. You guys have time to answer any questions. You guys are always pounding the basics, which is awesome. But at the end of the day, you get your two one-on-one calls to specifically work on where you're at, because we're all in different phases of where we're at with our business. To me, that was the nail in the coffin that just made it a no-brainer.
Dude, that's good to hear. I appreciate that feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And it is interesting. For us, like it's always been about, we actually do want people to get results. It's not about just like selling people into something and scaling. Like, we have bigger dreams and visions beyond just like using, like, I've just never viewed that like, oh, this is my one thing. This is the only way I'm ever gonna like make it. So I just need to juice everybody for every ounce of every penny I can get from them. Although we have like big visions and this is a part of it and stuff, like, for us, it's just always been important of like, dude, if we're going to work with people and if this is like the stage of life where we want to do like business coaching and stuff, like, we're going to like fucking coach our asses off and we're going to like get in these businesses and help people and try to figure stuff out and get them going where they want to go. Um, Otherwise it's just like, you might as well just, we might as well just sell e-courses or something, or ebooks, you know what I mean? Like, and it was interesting because anyways, not to like turn this around on us now, but I was going to say that just earlier this week I was actually on a discovery call, and the lady did mention, she's like, I downloaded one of your resources, and she was just like, I'm just like mind blown. She's like, I can't believe you would just give all that stuff away. I'm like, yeah, like, this isn't the reason people pay us. Like, they don't pay us to get a hold of an ebook. They pay us because we're actually going to get inside your business and figure out what's going on. And so anyways, dude, yeah, I'm glad to hear that that's appreciated, and the feedback and all that. So that's good to hear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude, this has been really good. So I guess just like overarchingly, basically just to kind of summarize again, just how this whole convo's gone. So niche down, you finally kind of picked a direction. The Dadletics, by the way, I really love the hats that came out. And so you feel like that has like been the number one thing, doing that, and then obviously just like accepting or what being the person that you need to be. We spent a lot of time, talking about that and stuff, just like as a whole in our program. Yeah, dude, do you feel like there was anything else? Do you feel like the niching down was the big piece? Was there anything else? Did it make content easier, sales calls easier? Like what do you feel like that was just like the missing piece for you? And once you figured that out, like everything else clicked?
Um, yeah. I mean, ultimately, I'd say the one-on-one calls is what launched things for me. The one-on-one calls allowed for the Dadletic thing to come to life. But yeah, I mean, definitely having a specific message now makes things easier. Hence my post about calling dads out for watching football. That would have been a tough message to get across prior, but it's actually gotten a ton of hit. And normally when I post pictures of me and my kiddo, like we get tons of likes. Like this is getting just as many likes, which I find like super fascinating. Same thing when I posted about sending the hats out for my clients with the Dadletic side of things. That got double the amount of posts that I posted of me and my wife and my son doing a Halloween thing, which normally that blows up pretty good. So
I
to me,
loved the comments on that too. You were like, some guys like, how do I get it? And you're like, it's earned.
it's earned.
In all capital. I was like, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. So to me, that this message is resonating with people, is what me looking at some of the data side of things. And then I think just the day-to-day, like I'm really prideful of tracking my data, keeping my data, and it just makes it a whole lot easier when given some feedback on it to help me continuing to massage that, because I am looking for the formula that I can wake up each day and know that no problems, no questions asked, I can get a client signed up per week. And so far I've been 98% there, which prior 6 months was not even in existence. So I'm pretty happy with 98% booking a client a week. So yeah, dude, it's hard to nail it down on one thing. I truly, if I did, would say it's the one-on-one calls. It's being able to verbally spew some things. You guys get it organized. Tell me what I need to do specifically for me, and then move on with my way.
I like it.
I feel like I would just want to note on this real fast. I think the biggest change that I've personally seen out of you over the past couple of months is you have truly became the authority figure within your space. Like you are a true leader. Like if you look at your content, you look at your group, everything encompassing what you are doing, people look at it and you're just like, oh, he's the real deal. Like if obviously I'm not a dad, never will I be one, but if I were,
Hopefully not.
I would be like that's you would be who I would go to. I wouldn't even have to know you, but it just the information you're putting out and just kind of like the persona you're putting off, like I would just feel like you're the guy. You would have all the answers that I was looking for.
No, I appreciate that. And definitely the push to go this way feels super natural, feels like, yeah, super comfy doing it. So that really helps. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I would definitely piggyback off that and just say, yeah, it's like, it's a very authentic message to you as well. And I think that's a big thing that, that's the reason it comes off that way. It's not like you're trying to be some kind of like influencer or whatever. It's like you're literally showing up. I mean, I see your pictures all the time, or your videos, you be on your stories early in the mornings out there on your climber and stuff like that. And it's just like after a while, when you consistent, like you can't fake that when you see it every single morning, day in and day out, and then you see the stuff you're on the timeline talking about and stuff. And I totally agree with Alli, and I agree. I think that you're moving in a really good direction, and yeah, dude, we're really excited for you.
Pumped. Appreciate all the help.
Yeah. So with that being said, again, guys, hopefully this was helpful. If you want to get a hold of the Content and Clients Playbook and some of the resources talking about just like niching down, how to step up as an authority figure, right kinds of content to be posting, all that kind of stuff, just comment on this. Let us know down below. Say doc, playbook, whatever. We'll send it over. Yeah, dude, we're really looking forward to continue this trend. Let's keep just steady stacking, and yeah, we're on a really good pace, good track. And I do just want to highlight for anyone listening in again, this whole conversation stems around like it's been just steady, consistent progress, and it's been daily work that has been put in every single day. And that's the reason why we're having this conversation today, because you really have, and you had before already, but you're a business owner and you wake up and you treat it like a business. And I see so many coaches who are struggling because they show up and they launch something this week because it's a play out of desperation. They want all the clients this week. They want all the clients this month. And they never plug into any kind of consistency, any kind of system. They just show up as an amateur. And the professional, they show up, they put in the reps, they do the work, they get their steps in, they eat their protein, they drink their water, they get their sleep, and then you wake up and you do it all again tomorrow. And business is literally no different. And so again, dude, I know I'm really hyping you up here, but just like you genuinely like have embodied all of that. Like you are so consistent, you do the work, you track everything. And so, yeah, dude, you deserve all the success you've been having.
I appreciate it.
With that being said, anybody have any last minute words or thoughts or anything to add here? Cool. This was a really good one.
Call booked.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, if you like listening to this and you want some help, definitely let us know down below and we can reach out to you. But with that being said, can't wait to do this again in another couple months.
Awesome.
So sweet, guys. We'll see you.